In his seminal 2005 commencement address at Stanford University, Steve Jobs offered a philosophy of life defined by faith in the unseen path. You can't connect the dots looking forward. You can only connect them looking backward. For Jobs, this sentiment encapsulated the chaotic, yet ultimately coherent journey of entrepreneurship and personal destiny. This statement holds immense power because it validates the messy reality of human endeavor. We move forward driven by intuition, not certainty. However, the wisdom embedded in this retrospective clarity extends beyond career choices and into the deeply confusing landscape of interpersonal dynamics. It crosses into the moment of the sudden, painful realization when the true nature of a relationship, specifically one marked by sustained manipulation or deception, is finally revealed. The moment one recognizes they have been played offers a profound, irreversible cognitive shift, transforming a seemingly random collection of past events into a stark, undeniable pattern. It is in this realization that the backward glance ceases to be a luxury and becomes an absolute necessity for survival and reclaiming your agency. When manipulation first reveals itself, it is rarely accompanied by a fanfare of warning bells. Often, the person orchestrating these subtle power plays is someone you trust, respect, or perhaps never suspected. The initial shock is palpable, the dissonance between who you thought they were and the reality now unfolding. In that moment, Jobs' perspective becomes achingly relevant. You begin to look back, and suddenly, the dots connect. What seemed like isolated incidents, offhand comments, or strange decisions now resolve into a pattern you can't unsee. The realization can be both liberating and unsettling as you recognize the thread woven through your shared history, previously hidden in plain sight. When Jobs spoke of the future, he encouraged trusting intuition. When we encounter manipulation, intuition is often actively subverted. The inability to connect the dots, looking forward in the context of deception, is not a failure of intelligence or vigilance, but a testament to the effectiveness of the manipulator's craft. Manipulation thrives in the unexpected. The person engaged in emotional games, gaslighting, or sustained deceit is rarely the caricature of villainy. They are often trusted friends, charming partners, or respected colleagues. Their success depends on psychological camouflage, mixing genuine positive behavior with subtle, damaging actions. When operating in good faith, victims of manipulation are looking for consistency, honesty, and mutual respect. They interpret ambiguities charitably, attributing problematic behavior to stress, misunderstanding, or accident. In this state of cognitive dissonance, the early dots, such as the microaggressions, the minor lies, the strange inconsistencies, are dismissed as noise. They are not seen as a signal. The human mind is wired to prioritize relational harmony, making it actively resistant to believing that someone close to them is deliberately inflicting harm. Therefore, connecting the dots looking forward is impossible. To do so would require assuming malicious intent, an assumption that violates the fundamental trust upon which the relationship is built. It's crucial to remember, however, that this inability to foresee manipulation is not a personal failing. The art of the manipulator often lies in their subtlety and the trust they engender. If you couldn't see it coming, it's not because you were naive or inattentive. It's because manipulation, by design, is meant to evade detection. Once the truth emerges, you reclaim your agency. You have the power to choose your response, to set new boundaries, and to walk a different path. The gift of hindsight doesn't just clarify the past, it empowers your future. You are not defined by the games others play, but by the strength and wisdom with which you move forward. The moment of realization, the indisputable evidence, the public exposure, or the cumulative effect of constant dissonance acts as the anchor point for the retrospective analysis. It is the moment when the system breaks and the shock sets in. The realization that it cannot be undone refers not to the damage, but to the knowledge. Once the truth is seen, the prior benign interpretations collapse instantly. This is the imperative for looking backward. The mind instantly seeks to recalibrate its understanding of reality, sifting through the archive of memory. What follows is not merely recalling events, but reorganizing them. The previously scattered dots violently snap into focus. First, the pattern emerges. Events that were once isolated incidents, the sudden mood swing, the forgotten promise, the isolated moment of cruelty, now locked together, revealing a clear, consistent pattern of control or deception. The true intent is revealed. The backward glance illuminates the motive. The behavior was not accidental. It was orchestrated. The seemingly random request was a test of compliance. The accidental slight was a tactic to undermine your confidence. Finally, your validation of intuition. Crucially, the retrospective view validates the fleeting discomfort the victim felt all along. The quiet voice that whispered, "Something is wrong," during those confusing moments is finally affirmed. The noise is transformed into a coherent message. This retroactive connection is painful, yet necessary, offering the clarity that was denied by forward-facing trust. The tragedy inherent in this realization is that clarity often arrives hand in hand with loss. Yet it is essential to remind those who find themselves standing at this juncture that this failure of foresight is not your fault. Trusting the person you cared about was the natural, honorable course of action. The manipulators succeeded precisely because their methods target empathy and reliance on social norms. The dots were obscured by design. However, once the retrospective clarity is achieved, the dynamic shifts entirely. The backward glance provides understanding, but the forward path is still a matter of choice. And please remember that this is your choice. This realization is not a finish line. It is a springboard. The victim gains an immense, powerful tool, knowledge. They now possess the map of the manipulator's tactics, rendering their future attempts at deception powerless. This knowledge creates a definitive choice structure. You have the choice to detach. The dots have connected, the pattern is clear, and the future must be protected from replication of the past. You also have the choice of a path. With the pattern identified, you are now fully empowered to walk a different path, one based on the rediscovered clarity, self-respect, and boundaries that the manipulation had eroded. The retrospective analysis, therefore, serves as the ultimate act of empowerment, turning passive victimhood into active self-determination. Steve Jobs' observation that we must look backward to achieve clarity is a universal truth, applicable both to the construction of a successful career and the deconstruction of a damaging relationship. In the realm of manipulation, the backward glance is the crucial mechanism that replaces confusion with context, transforming scattered moments of disquiet into a validated, actionable truth. While the pain of realizing past deception is acute, the clarity it imparts is restorative. The past is fixed, revealed as a pattern of calculated actions. The future, however, remains fluid. By connecting the dots, looking backward, the individual reclaims their narrative, validating their experiences and stepping forward with an earned wisdom. This is a wisdom that ensures the path ahead is driven by informed choice rather than veiled deception.